Welcome to This Explainer. For decades, software development has been locked behind this massive wall of complex languages, frustrating syntax, and years of intense study. But guess what? That wall just came tumbling down. Today, we're diving headfirst into something called vibe coding. We are going to give you a practical, step-by-step playbook so you can build your very own custom apps today. No computer science degree required. If you've ever had a killer idea for a tool but literally had no clue where to start, you are in the exact right place. So think about the old way of building software for a second. It basically left you with two really painful options. Either you spend 6 grueling months trying to learn how to code, which usually ends with you weeping over a single missing semicolon, or you spend thousands of dollars hiring a developer. Well, the new way completely obliterates those barriers. I mean it. You can literally create a custom, fully working app in under 10 minutes. I know it sounds like absolute magic, but it is just the new reality we're living in. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The end of traditional coding. 2. The core vibe coding tools. 3. Step-by-step app generation. 4. Practical real-world use cases. And 5. Overcoming AI coding roadblocks. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the end of traditional coding. So, where did this all come from? The term vibe coding was actually coined by Andrej Karpathy, the former director of AI at Tesla. He used it to describe this totally radical new workflow where you don't write syntax anymore. You don't chase compiler errors. Instead, you just have a conversation with an AI in plain English. You dictate the vibe, essentially the exact specs of what you want, and the AI handles 100% of the technical heavy lifting. Basically, you've just been promoted from a typist to a manager. Moving right along to Section 2, Core Vibe Coding Tools. To pull this off, there are really only 3 main platforms you need to be aware of. First up is Bolt.new, which is absolutely perfect for instant web environments. You just give it a prompt, and it builds a full browser environment with a live, working URL in less than 2 minutes. Next, we have Lovable.dev. This one is fantastic if you want polished, production-ready user interfaces right out of the box. And finally, there's Cursor, which is designed specifically for handling larger, much more complex applications directly on your local computer. Actually, I want to talk about Cursor for a second because if you want to build locally, it's an absolute game changer. Think of it like having a dedicated, tireless senior software engineer sitting right by your side. And this dev doesn't need sleep, doesn't take coffee breaks. As you just casually describe what you want, this AI-powered editor continuously writes, reviews, and audits your project. It literally translates your thoughts into flawless infrastructure in real time. Let's see how this works in practice. Section 3, Step-by-Step App Generation. The beauty of this is that instead of settling for generic, off-the-shelf apps that kind of do what you want, you can build exactly what you need. And you do it using a super simple 3-step framework. Define the blueprint, generate the app, and refine with dialogue. Let's walk through this using a custom daily productivity tracker as our example. Okay, step 1, defining your blueprint. You do this by typing exactly what you want in everyday natural language. Notice how specific this is. I need a clean, dark mode habit tracker app that tracks 5 daily goals, calculates my weekly consistency percentage, and saves the data locally. The more detailed your plain English instructions are, the better your end result's going to be. It's essentially writing a wish list for your perfect app. Then, for step 2, you literally just copy that text and drop it right into a tool like Bolt.new or Lovable.dev. And then, you just sit back. The AI instantly generates the underlying JavaScript or React code, it creates the visual layout, it sets up the database, and it builds all the logic. In a matter of moments, your plain text just transforms into a live, interactive interface. Now, step 3 is where the real magic happens. This is the refinement phase. Look, your app probably isn't going to be 100% perfect on the very first try, but here is the secret. Listen closely. You do not touch the code. You just talk to the AI. If the layout feels cramped, you just tell it, hey, make the buttons larger. If you realize you need a new feature, you just type add a button to export my progress to a CSV file. The AI goes in, writes the new code, and your app evolves right before your eyes. So what can we actually do with this? Section 4, Practical Real-World Use Cases. Once you really grasp this workflow, you'll start to see that almost every little friction point in your day becomes completely solvable. Freelancers, you can build specialized client intake forms that calculate quotes instantly. Or maybe you want to create a personal dashboard with a live dietary meal planner that automatically spits out a grocery list. From quick PDF converters to custom file compressors, it is all about automating the mundane stuff so you can take your time back. And for the creators and founders out there, vibe coding completely democratizes innovation.
Think about it. You can test whether a new app idea has actual market value by launching a working prototype in a single afternoon. There is no more spending months in development or burning through precious startup capital on a whole engineering team just to find out if people even want what you're building. It's wildly empowering. But hey, things will still break. So let's talk about Section 5, Overcoming AI Coding Roadblocks. If you only take away one single thing from this entire explainer, please let it be the absolute golden rule of vibe coding. Never, ever try to fix the code yourself. If you are a non-technical user, this should be a huge relief. Digging into the raw code to try and fix a misplaced comma completely defeats the purpose of this workflow. And honestly, you're probably just going to break things even further. Just remember this dynamic. You stay in the operator's seat, and the AI is the mechanic. If a button stops working or your screen suddenly throws up a massive red error message, don't panic. Just copy that error message, paste it back into the chat, and say, "Fix it. This button isn't working." The AI will look at its own logs, debug the issue, and apply the patch for you. You manage the problem, the AI fixes the problem. We are firmly leaving the era where you have to buy generic software off a shelf and awkwardly adapt your workflow to fit it. Software is now created on demand for your exact, highly specific needs. Vibe coding gives you the superpower to turn friction into solutions instantly. So I highly recommend you jump into Bolt or Lovable today and give it a try. Now that code is literally nothing more than a conversation, what are you going to build first?